Now, as we move to our panel discussion, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed moderator, Professor Rupesh Chaturvedi sir. He is a professor from School of Biotechnology, JNU, New Delhi. He is a distinguished scientist and he will skillfully guide us through this insightful conversation. Sir, over to you.
I'd like to welcome you all in this panel session. I think from afternoon we had a mini presentation where you heard about the concept of Ayurveda, including Rasayana and other things, and a lot of evidences has been generated. So keeping that thing in our mind, we have designed two panels. One is we are going to talk about, discuss personalized Ayurveda for healthy aging and how we can bridge the traditional knowledge with the clinical practice. And the another is going to be a biohacking aging. Can Ayurveda and the modern science unlock the secret of longevity? I think these two panels it's going to be a pretty good segue for what have been presented here. So if you look at the aging as a very complex, multifaceted process influenced by our genetics, lifestyle, and environment. While if you look at the modern medicine, it seeks to decode the longevity through technology, data, but if you look at the Ayurveda, it has provided a very personalized, holistic approach to aging for millennia. As you said, yoga, how it's changing the gray matter, or Rasayana, which is changing, how it's being affected. But if you look at the principle behind those things, how they are interconnected. Can we really put these together and use it to maintain the vitality or prevent the age-related decline? So we will start with the biohacking aging. Can Ayurveda and the modern science unlock the secret of longevity? So if I would like to invite our panelists, Dr. Kaustubh Upadhyay is the advisor in Ayush ministry. Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, I think you all have heard him. Dr. Bhavana Prasher and Dr. Sulochana Bhat. So, my first question is with the Dr. Kaustubh Upadhyay. If you look at the biohacking, which enhances the human performance and longevity through lifestyle modifications, diet and technology. Ayurveda with some limited, time-tested practices like Rasayana, which we just saw, Dinacharya and herbal therapy, has been optimizing our health for centuries. And especially in a context of fundamental of Ayurveda like Prakriti and other things. Do you think can Ayurvedic principles as methodologies serve as a natural blueprint for achieving a healthy aging and longevity? If yes, then how we can merge both sciences together?
In Ayurveda, we believe pratyaksham hi alpam, analpam apratyaksam. What we know is very minute. What we don't know is a huge universe. So this we have to understand. That's why while deducting Ayurveda, how Ayurveda, Brahma Smrutva, means it is the knowledge is there in the universe, we are just capturing it. It's an observational science. So if you want to find out each and every molecule and test it in various disorders or various problem areas, it's a Herculean job. So how Ayurvedic people first got it. The principle says Ayurveda, it's a nature selection. Nature tells you what is the Ayurveda. Ayurveda is how it comes. Kurvatehi ruchim doshaha viparita samanayahu. Body system is like that. When something is disturbed in your body will demand. It will create a demand. That demand we have to recognize. So our mental peace, if it is there, we will be able to appreciate it. Otherwise, we can't know what our stomach is asking, what our tongue is asking. So if we are able to make that differentiate, our body will tell us what is medicine for us. So most of the observations, even including folklore observations, are done by the observation of animals. Suppose you have a cat, you have a dog in the house, it gets disturbed, it will go and eat the grass and it will vomit out and it will get easy. Isn't it? It's a nature. So, for example, Shilajatu we are using since 4,000, 5,000 years. One scientist who came here in India for some tourism for issue, he observed some monkeys in certain range of Himalayas. They are very healthy. It is not same with the monkeys which are above that range and below that range. Then he was keen and he started observed. And he saw that monkeys are going to crack rocks spaces and scratch that secretion and eating it. Then they found what it is. It was Shilajittu, what we are using in Ayurveda since ages. So that who has thought that monkey that this has got the prolongation of age. So these are all the knowledge systems which are there. This is a record. Whatever recorded in various traditional medicine sciences, it's a record observations that are documented and that has been practiced. That what we are practicing is not 2%, Ayurvedic people. And what modern science takes for research, it is fraction, 0.00001% of what we are following. So we say, what is the gap? So unless we entirely make a research with taking all the aspects together, we will not able to contribute much to the science. We have almost past 75 years after independence. What is the original contribution to the medical science from India? Can we count in fingers? Not even one or two. This is because we as a population, civilization, we were having original thinking from the day's beginning. Upanishad starts from the questioning. Now, in our whatever education system, our thought process, we stop questioning everything. Without questioning, first question. So that question should be beyond any bias. We say Rajas Tamobhyam Nirmukta. We should not have any biases. That's the null hypothesis is the basic for any research. But we forget that. For every research protocol, we have a bias. Lot of bias we bring and we will say we have null hypothesis. So that bias we have to remove. Second, Tapo Jnana Balenaye. Tapa means you have to do hard work. Research takes a lot of dedication and hard work that we should commit. And if we put that, then Jnana will come automatically. Then we will come out to the research outputs which will be useful for the society. So bioprospecting in Ayurveda is the very useful tool. Without that, it will be like finding the needle in the sand. That is my observation, my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So that's bring us to the next question, because, if you look at the biohacking, which is a modern way to enhance our, age, reducing the aging, enhancing longevity. And that's a concept of biohacking, if you think about that. If you look at that, it focuses more on the data-driven physiological optimization. Whereas if you look at the Ayurveda, it's a more holistic, system-based approach to well-being. How crucial it is, sir, for a question to Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, sir, how it's crucial to decipher the underlying biological mechanism of the Ayurvedic principles, such as a metabolic regulation or neuroplasticity or immunomodulation, which if you look into the Ayurveda talks about, yoga or Agni or, Oj, Sot, all those concepts, to integrate this integrate the ancient wisdom with the modern biohacking movement so that they both could mix and culminate in the better understanding and take us to the, start a new era.
Yeah.
So,
No, thank you, Dr. Rupesh, and thank you for this question, because I wanted to talk about this term biohacking itself, As biohacking to me is an oxymoron. And ethical biohacking is even more oxymoron. Because, and I saw one book, on hacking health. And I say, what the heck? What do you mean? Because hacking, if you look at the dictionary meaning of hacking also, it is something which is unauthorized. No. And ethical hacking, grey hat hacking, or white hacking, I mean, these are some very, very weird concepts which are coming in our system. I mean, I would say that if you want to modulate your response, you should go to Dr. Upadhyay or Dr. Shrikant or Dr. Bhavana and ask them, or Sulochana also can tell you what is Dinacharya, what is Rutucharya. You don't have to really go into this kind of terminology, which is actually not correct terminology. And they are trying to take us in the wrong path. Means I have seen some of the lifestyle, so-called lifestyle, what do they call themselves? Coaches.
Coaches.
Lifestyle coaches, giving advice to people that if you want to have health, you should really in the evening have a good exercise, then have a warm water bath, and then have dinner. But this is completely opposite to what Ayurveda is trying to tell you. So this is not the way. So world actually is looking for an authentic, credible advice, and not something which is so-called pseudo-fashionable advice. We should be very careful. So here Ayurveda has a great role to play, because Ayurvedic advices are based on the experiences. They are not short-term experiences. They are coming from a very, very long-term experiences which are tested, which are tested in people and not just in the laboratory. Because in science, unfortunately, Dr. Rupesh, both of us, we come from a science background, and we are taught that what we see, what we hear, what we measure is only true, because our science is based on empirism. And we are sitting now in Indian Institute of Science, so I must talk about it. And in the book, actually, I have made this point that, and the subtitle of my book, Genome to Om, is Evolving Journey of Modern Science to Meta Science. So it is actually a journey from Jnana, Vijnana to Pradnyan. So he was making a point that who tells all this. This is the Pradnyan. Means who is telling that mosquito, who taught that mosquito to come here and exactly bite you at the night time when you don't know that she is biting you? Who is telling you this? Who is telling those migratory bird, who is telling that tortoise to tag a geotag and come back? So this is something which we cannot explain today. We may explain by way of science, the experiments are evolving, so we may do that. But essentially, there is something which is beyond, which we cannot really explain or measure today. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We are not able to really measure it today. It doesn't mean that tomorrow we may not be able to measure it or know it. And in history of science, you will see hundreds of such examples. We were thinking that something is impossible yesterday. Today we are able to do it very easy. So science is ever evolving. Second important point which he made is curiosity driven. Science is curiosity driven, questioning driven, and we have actually stopped thinking. We are living today in a thinking deficit society. And a couple of weeks ago, Nature published an article, you may have read that, and the title of the article is Scientists Need Time to Think. Now, why scientists? Everybody needs time to think. Today, kids don't have time to think in the school. So this is the world we are living in today. And so when we are talking about modifying ourselves to face today's modern problems, modern problems cannot be resolved by only modern methods. And we will have to go for the methods which are tested, which are time tested, which are coming from not only Ayurveda and Yoga, but there are several other knowledge sources also which can bring in them. And healthy aging, this is what the theme today. I think healthy aging, first of all, aging is a natural process. We have to make it very healthy by way of adopting our own lifestyle, our own diet. How can we remain healthy by eating the kind of food we are eating today? How can we be age healthy if we are following the lifestyle which we are following today? So we will have to make lot of changes, and we will have to make lot of disruptive changes in our own behaviors, and that will come I think through this, I hope that RISE will able to really bring that very, very effectively, because it is happening with the right people at the right place. As I told you, told you in the morning, we need role models, and RISE will become such role models for this change, but not through hacking. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's a pretty, thought-provoking, because if you look at how the longevity in society they are practicing, this is the one of the thing and I completely agree with that we don't have to hack it, we have to really improvise it. So my third question is, with the Dr. Bhavana Parasar, if you look at the way right now longevity clinics or other they are practicing is looking at doing a lot of different type of genetic testing and then biometrics analysis, which has a huge multi-omics components. It costs a lot. But if you look at the Ayurveda, which categorizes a human extreme constituents, Prakriti type and then Agni, how do you think that where is the point where Tridosh and all these concepts can reconcile with, biometrics technology and create something which is a new, more universal and more useful?
Yeah. So I think, as you rightly said, we have a lot of tests and multiple things. As in the morning, Brian's talk also, you mentioned that we have many verticals of diagnostic parameters, positive factors, therapeutic options,
Where do
but we have very little interconnectedness.
Connected.
And I think that's where Ayurveda's interconnectedness. Am I audible? So that's where I think Ayurveda's Trisutra framework, which is essentially an interconnectedness between causative factors, clinical manifestations, and corresponding therapeutic manifestations, therapeutic interventions, and that it is able to give because it connects with external environment and internal environment through a common language of Tridosha, and that's very much a practical thing to do. Second thing is having analyzed Tridosha in the clinical phenotypes, it also tells about the vulnerabilities and robustness, both patterns. It's called Kha Different Prakriti will have a different susceptibilities based on their organ system's strength, and accordingly, and so that can help in identification of markers also. And accordingly, why we are worried about markers, because then you can pinpointedly select the corresponding dosha pacifying medicines to test on only those aspects rather than everything going everywhere and no dots getting connected. So the example that I gave of the DNA damage repair and the hypoxia and all, it tells that these are the things which are more predominantly observed in one Prakriti versus the other. So corresponding dosha pacifying medicines might actually have, and we have also proven with one of the herbs, Adatoda vasica, on hypoxia. Second thing is that when you are saying, biohacking, or maybe I can say that if people who are in all our biology, we have metabolic processes going on, metabolic processes giving rise to something which is to be excreted out and or maybe cleared out of the system. So we have all systems in place to clear out. If there is a system for genesis, there is a system for clearing out also. But when the second one is going down and other one, the production of wastes, or for that matter, even in programmed cell death, if it goes beyond certain rates, the clearance is not happening, and we are also seeing cell-free DNA-like conditions in the circulating blood, which is causing a lot of inflammatory response. We have also got apoptosis to be matched with the efferocytosis to clear out all the things that have been thrown out in the system. Likewise, we also have biotoxins and also. And Ayurveda talks about Rasayana therapy, not just, start giving good things one after the other, and too many good things might not even actually eventually have the beneficial effects. It first talks about clearing out mechanisms. So something which is regularly happening, it's fine, but if it's not happening, you proactively do it to cleanse the system of all those toxins. So I think these are the concepts which will actually enable the integration of Vat Pitta Kapha based analysis plus Vat Pitta Kapha based Aushadha selections to be able to encounter, take care of the aging process.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I think, that brings me to the next question. If you look at the way the modern, what they call it, so-called biohacking, so what they do, there is emphasis on different type of chemicals, including a caffeine or modafinil or synthetic peptide to enhance the brain function. Whereas if you look at the Ayurveda, it offers adaptogens, and I think you saw in a one presentation they showed how the adaptogen can enhance our brain functionality also. So how do you think that in terms of popularizing this, because the one which is getting a lot of popularity, the another one is we were talking about, but how we are going to integrate this, because there's always a question of long-term safety and efficacy with with a natural medicine. So how you think that that can be merged together?
Uh, this may be a right question to a wrong person. Anyway, I would like to take a diversion, a little bit of diversion from the question. Don't think I'm dodging the question. You may ask this question to a right person, probably. But I felt I was there from the beginning listening to all the experts. One area that was not discussed was diet. Ahar. Generally, Dr. Bhavana talks about Prakriti and Ahar, but she did not mention that, maybe because of the paucity of time. And I'm sure even the audience doesn't want to speak about diet now, because after having such a delicious dinner, lunch and tea, the same scenario prevails in research in the area of Ayurveda Ahar. Not much has been done. If you look at the literature, already available literature, they are generally literature review, even in PubMed if you see, or maybe some ingredients, food ingredients like garlic in dyslipidemia or anti-inflammatory activity of turmeric. But food as a whole, as sir said, healthy diet is good. What is healthy? Healthy for me may not be healthy for Dr. Bhavana. So what is healthy for customized diet? So that's another area. Some people say drink 2 liters of water, 3 liters of water. But somebody else says, no, that much of water is not good. Somebody says, hot water is good. No, I like cold water. I'm fine with cold water. I'm doing well even after having cold water. Or we say in Ayurveda, curd is not good in general. So buttermilk is better. So what kind of study or evidence we have? That is one area where we need to focus a lot. And in the area of food, there are several different aspects, like rasa. One particular rasa, it's vatakara or kafahara. So then how to identify rasa? One that is sweet to me may not be that sweet to others. So that kind of several angles are there. Even the healthy food, milk, they say it's universally healthy, but it doesn't suit many people. So this is what I feel. And one of the mandates of my institution, Central Ayurveda Research Institute, located in Bangalore. We are under Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. We are supposed to work in the area of dietetics. I see many young and intelligent people here. And any idea about research on dietetics in particular are welcome. We have a tie-up with CFTRI Mysore, sir. In Ayurveda books, many formulations are mentioned, food. But in what proportion they should be mixed, or for how long they should be heated or boiled. So that is not there, that's absent. So to develop a formulation and also see their efficacy on animals. So that's an effort we have initiated. That study is going on well. We could develop 10 different formulations that were mentioned. In different dosage forms we have developed, ready to cook kind of thing. So this is just a general idea about what I wanted to express in this forum. Highly
Thank you.
privileged to share dais with Patwardhan sir and also my friend Dr. Bhavana and Dr. Kaustubh.
Taking
Thank-
further what she said about the differential suitability towards different dietary conditions, it also goes well for differential restrictive time eating, because sometimes people say 2 meals a day is very good, sometimes they say 6 meals. So where do we reconcile all these things? Again, coming back to Prakriti, I mean, people of Pit Prakriti cannot have 2 meals a day. Likewise, if Kapha Prakriti is asked to eat every now and then, they'll end up in a metabolic dysregulation. So I think that's where there's nothing like good for everyone. There has to be a consideration of inter-individual variability, especially in immunometabolic patterns, to be able to get the best benefits out of it. Even intermittent fasting may not suit everyone, howsoever good results there may be for intermittent fasting. So yeah, very, very well said, Dr. Sulochana.
Yeah. One more information. FSSAI has published Ayurveda Ahar guidelines in 2021. Who is interested can go through, and it says what are the, I mean, huh? No, not Viruddhahara. In general, if you want to manufacture and sell any product in the name of Ayurveda, there are some regulations.
Registration provisions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Can be one of the considerations.
I will touch
yeah, sure.
Dr. Rupesh question. The present trend in modern research is whatever known molecules, we want to correlate and give credit to that molecule, all the effects, what we are ascribing to that particular drug as a whole.
Yeah.
But each and every drug contains 50, 60, 100 types of phytomolecules, and we don't know which one is actually giving the result. So before making drawing conclusion without surveying everything, it's a disservice to the science. So my request is, while doing the integrated research where Ayush component is involved, I want, before finalizing the protocol, there should be brain discussion regarding both. The scientists should openly discuss various aspects, and without taking the principles of Ayurveda and taking one particular drug will not serve. For example, in 50s and 60s, reserpine is the only compound for BP, hypertension. But what happened after 20 years? But now, even in today, Ayurvedic people are using sarpaganda and they are giving result, and no side effects, whatever reported for reserpine is coming in the sarpaganda as a whole drug. So these types of things are there. So that reductionist approach should be carefully watched and drawing conclusion. I have a reservation in conclusion drawn by most of the research works happened across the country. I have a very strong reservation on those conclusions, because that bias, removing bias, when you do that, those conclusions do not match with whatever work we have done. Because in biological research, control of environment is very challenging job. We are actually not able to control everything in biological world. So lot of dependency will be there. Body will respond to each and every stimuli at every moment, and body is exposed to so many other factors also. So that control, what we say, is a misnomer in biological world. So that we have to be careful in doing biomedical research.
So this brings to the the end of the session. But with the one question, I think I would like you all to answer that is because if you look at the what we call it modern or the conventional medicine which is going on right now, it's a pretty much in a binary in a nature. Like you look at the diagnostics and then you try to correlate it. Sometimes there is no correlations. But if you look at the Ayurveda, which is a more holistic but more complex, so what kind of a framework we can prepare which can accommodate both? First question, is there possibility that we can converge these two divergent pathway? And if we can do, what will be the framework and how we are going to achieve it?
Possibility is always there. You have seen, I forgot your name, Hemant's presentation, yoga and research, the outcomes of ancient science with modern medicines, modern tools. He has given the clear-cut example. And most of the research, they are giving parts of the light, but it is not the whole thing. Whole picture will come once we remove that bias. So my request is, just as a postulate, you receive the whatever the concepts of other science, other streams. Even Ayurvedic people should not have any prejudice on the what modern people say or modern scientists say. We should openly receive those information, and if open dialogue say, and that reductionist mindset we should remove. We should be open in receiving the concepts, and then we will design the protocol. Then what can be compromised or what can be accommodated, that we can decide. And protocol is the main problem with our research. And being the head of the scheme section, where I am looking after the grants given to various research protocols are poorly designed in Ayush research, and that needs to be a serious attention of researchers from all across, from Ayush side as well as modern scientists. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bhushan, sir.
I think it is possible, and we have examples of those who are doing it successfully. Means Niman story we saw, and I think when the physician scientists like Dr. Srikantan, who is sitting here, they grow in number, this will automatically happen. Today, a doctor who has passed out from AIMS is doing this kind of a treatment. Now, diabetes he is talking about. Diabetes treatment, if as a drug researcher, I can tell you that if we dream that we will find out some magic bullet which will attack one target and one molecule, and we will be able to control diabetes, impossible. Like it is absolutely not possible, because it's a polygenic disease and we can't do that. But there are certain good things in allopathy as well. If you have to have quick fixes, if you want immediate, if somebody is having chest pain or suspected any kind of a cardiac problem, we can't tell him to go to him and do yoga. You have to go to cardiologist and take it. So this call will have to be taken, and doctors will have to be more like guardians of health, rather than only looking at public symptoms and quickly fixing them. And Ayurveda, yoga, they can bring in solid support for non-pharmacological intervention. No, there's a huge scope, and we have been undermining this non-pharmacological part for quite some time, and that is mostly because of the industry pressure which is coming. But mind plays extremely important role, and we have forgotten our own capacity to heal ourselves. So that will have to be regained, and this kind of a integration has to be done, which is evidence based, not just hearsay or not. But I can see that it is happening. Today also we saw several examples, and institution coming up here itself with leadership of a person like Dr. Swaminathan. I'm sure things will change for good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have time?
Yes, yeah.
So, just wanted to differentiate between a holistic therapeutic trial versus a drug trial. When we are doing drug trial, we are only taking one drug to test for its efficacy and difficult to control. But still it is possible, because you imagine in traditional knowledge digital library, you might have heard, every drug, every disease, or even every subtype of the disease, there are at least 40-50 formulations available in one single text. And considering all different therapeutic texts, there may be hundreds of formulas. What does that mean? That means they have been specifically designed for specific conditions in a stage or severity or subtype. And when you want to do a test of that, you will have to design your inclusion-exclusion criteria based on that, and you should know what to expect from which drugs trial, and the Ayurveda's Falashruti will actually guide from there. So even for holistic therapeutic protocol, if you want to take up one drug to test, appropriate controls if taken and appropriate parameters if taken to evaluate, because you cannot expect diabetes to get fully controlled and covered up by just one. Otherwise, Charaka himself would not have given 150 formulations for it, which means each formulation has a prescription time, a clinical endpoint to be moved on to the next kind of a medicine or a next line of treatment. And in trials, one needs to take into account those details to be able to identify the outcomes or not. Multiple parameters, as I just gave an example of Prakriti. Prakriti is also determined by geoclimatic condition, ethnicity, familial characteristics, age, everything has been talked in Ayurveda also, that it is a multifactorial components which contribute to it. But if I want to test the pratyatmani, the one component as to inter-individual variability, I will have to keep everything else similar. Same genetic background, more or less, same geoclimatic conditions, same age group, and I'll take samples also at the same time of the day. And still, if I see differences amongst healthy, then I can safely attribute it to. So that's how one will have to design controls and design parameters to appropriately question the efficacy. I think that's where we will be able
Yeah.
to make up bridges.
Bridges. Thank you very much.
I want
Yes,
to,
sure.
again, to address your question, whether it is really possible, and I said it is possible, but we need again two types of practitioners. I mean, he was introduced as physician scientist. I'm saying he is Vaidya scientist.
Yeah.
And we had done, Miss Supriya is Vaidya scientist here, Bhavana ji is Vaidya scientist here. So unless we have this kind of a confluence of knowledge, it is not possible.
I think it's a good message to end. We need another class of a weather scientist so that we can put all this together and create a framework. Thank you very much, sir.